Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Get in the Game podcast, where we talk about faith and action, getting off the sidelines, getting in the game. And today I am joined by a special guest, Matt Carpenter. Matt and I actually played together with the St. Louis Cardinals on the back end of my career. Matt was just starting his illustrious career, which included 3 All-Star appearances and a Silver Slugger award. He was one of those guys that just made his reputation on being that gritty player, strong leadership, clutch hitting, especially with the St. Louis Cardinals. And Matt is here today to join us with Get in the Game. Matt, welcome to the show.
Nice, Scott. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You bet, man. I'm looking forward to diving into a bunch of different things. But first, I want to give you the floor because you've got some big news you'd like to share.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I wanted to take this opportunity on this podcast here with you and officially announce my retirement from the game of baseball. Was very fortunate enough to play, for some great organizations and had quite a thrill being able to don the St. Louis Cardinals logo for many years. A brief stint with the New York Yankees and also the San Diego Padres. And, I could thank a lot of people and I will. But I think I've got to start with my family. My wife, Mackenzie. Anybody who's played professional baseball knows that it takes a really strong woman at home to get through what that life looks like. And she was the rock in our household that was able for me to go out and play the game that I loved for so long. And so I can't start without thanking her. And then obviously my parents, my mom, my dad. Having kids now, you realize the sacrifices you make for your own children coming up from the time that they're walking or born, and obviously through youth sports. My dad was my coach. And my love for the game of baseball came from his love of the game of baseball. He pretty much taught me everything that I know about the game. So obviously a huge thank you to them. And I just wanted to get that out there. And I'm excited for what's next and getting to spend some much needed quality time with my wife and kids on a more consistent basis now that, you put the cleats up. So yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Matt, that's a huge announcement, and I want to be one of the first to say congratulations. It was a real privilege to be your teammate and just watch you play all those years in St. Louis, and as you say, go to some other places too, but then come back to St. Louis too. Man, that had to be really sweet to bookend your career and be able to come back to St. Louis.
Man, it was awesome. So fortunate that that opportunity came about. Getting the last jersey you put on, being the first one you put on. As many people know, St. Louis is a special place that I hold very dear to my heart. The fans there, the organization, from top to bottom. I mean, it's a very unique, special place to get to play baseball. And I'm just so honored and blessed that I got to wear that uniform for so many years.
Matt, tell us a little bit about how you arrived at this decision. Was it difficult for you?
It really wasn't. I never made like a formal announcement going into last season, but in my mind, kind of throughout the whole year, I kind of felt like, this was going to be it. But you go into the off season kind of open-minded, trying to see if, how this is going to play out. You kind of think about what the future looks like. And for me, this off season was really spent a lot of reflection and a lot of prayer, a lot of time with my family, thinking about, what the future holds. And, God really just put it on my heart that it was time to come home and be a dad. I've got 2 little kids. I've got a 3rd grade daughter, Kinley. I got a 1st grade son, Cannon, and they are just in such fun ages. And I just didn't want to miss out on any more things that you miss as a professional athlete. We did our best. I spoke about my wife, Mackenzie. We absolutely, I mean, she knocked it out of the park while I was playing, finding time for us to really get to spend that quality time together. But there are some, limitations when it comes to travel and, the commitment that it takes to play that game at a high level. So, for me, the focus really and the decision really fell on that family time and wanting to be home and get to be here. So it really kind of made that decision easy, um, and I'm just really excited about what the next chapter of this journey is how it's gonna turn out.
Matt, I know you as a strong man of faith, and you mentioned that God showed you. I'd love for you maybe just to unpack that a little bit for those who might be asking the question, how does God speak in those moments? How does he show me? How did he show you that this was the right time?
Well, I think that the big one was just the the feeling I had inside of wanting to be here at this house, be in my home on a day-to-day basis, which, for all of my children's lives at this point, I mean, I haven't been that constant figure at the house, due to the, demands of a Major League Baseball season. I mean, the one benefit of playing professional sports is you do have an off season where you come home and you are there every single night, and you're spending hours a day, that someone that's working a normal job maybe doesn't get to spend. So you can kind of double down on that time. But then once the season starts, you're gone a lot, as you know. And just that tugging on my heartstrings, in that specific area when it comes to my wife and children was a big one. But then you also look at anybody who's been a Major League Baseball free agent or any professional free agent. You come into that next kind of off season, and you start taking phone calls, and you figuring out what teams are interested in and what makes sense, and does it line up with what your family wants or needs. And as we went through the off season, it just became clearer and clearer to me that, God wanted me here at home. And not only was that his desire, but it was my desire. And it made the decision really easy.
Man, that's really good. I love the way you talk about that alignment. And I was just thinking as you were talking, that God is a God of order. He's not a God of chaos. He's not trying to hide things from us. He's working with us and alongside us to make things clear for us when we seek him. So I love the way you put that and how you got into alignment. And that's got to be incredibly affirming for you to know that God is in this decision, that you have sought his will in your life for this.
For sure, for sure. And I think that for people, one thing that I want to make very clear is just, I think that, not having my identity wrapped up in baseball was a big thing when it comes to making a decision like this. If you see yourself as a baseball player and that's who you are and that's all you are, I mean, it could make a decision like this a little tougher. But, I have, as a father, as a husband, as a son, much bigger things than just a baseball player. And, God's grace and his, the blessings that he's given me throughout my career. I mean, I could talk for hours on that. But just it just made that decision that much easier. Not having that identity piece, wrapped up in baseball player. It's something that I did. It's not who I am. And, the next chapter, whatever, he shows me and however this thing ends up, I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, that is such an important thing, what you just said right there. It's something that I do, it's not who I am. And your value in God's economy doesn't change now that you're not playing baseball. You're not any more important to him when you were a baseball player versus right now. And That's a great point that you made. Matt, I would love for you maybe just to spend a few minutes here talking about maybe it's a moment or a story, or maybe it's a couple of moments or stories that really stand out when you think about your career, a game, a season, even a small behind the scenes memory. Like what really comes out when you reflect back on your career, which was what, 15 years? Is that, anybody have that right?
Yeah, I think so. Um, Man, that's a tough one. I can think of a lot of things that stick out, but I think most players and uh, it's hard to not put that first time you walk on a Major League Baseball field at the top of the list. Your Major League debut. As a kid, I kind of talked about it earlier. I was the son of a high school baseball coach. My dad coached high school baseball in the state of Texas for 40 plus years, and I had the privilege to get to play for him. And I, up until and still is one of the greatest highlights of my time as a baseball player is that getting to do that with him. And you know when you are raised in a baseball family and you spend as much time as we did at the field, and to be able to reach the pinnacle of Major League Baseball, and get to debut in front of your dad, your parents, your all your family, that was quite a thrill. As nervous as I was putting on that jersey and walking out there on the for that first game. It was a Cubs Cardinals series at Busch
Oh,
Stadium.
wow.
It
Oh,
was
man.
just an electric environment. Um, Chris Carpenter was the starter that day. I'm playing third base, and just very surreal moment, and certainly a highlight of you know of my time getting to play baseball. That definitely sticks up at the top of the list.
Well, you mentioned some names there, and what I would love to do for you, you did not know that I was going to do this, so I'm going to surprise you a little bit. But when we think about the players that we played with, I think back to the guys that really that's what matters, right? Is the relationships moving forward. So we've got actually a couple of videos from a couple of your teammates who wanted to say something to you on this day. We'll start with Matt Holliday.
Karp, congratulations on retirement, buddy. Really happy for you. You had an amazing career. Love being your teammate. Love taking the field with you. Incredible human. Just blessed to have been your teammate and excited about spending more time with you in retirement. Congratulations, buddy.
What does that mean for you to hear that from Matt?
Man, you're right. You surprised me with this one. It's hard not to get choked up. Man, you said it best. The thing that I take from the many years that I was fortunate enough to play the game of baseball is the people that you meet and the relationships that you build. If I'm going to miss anything about playing, it's going to be that. I think most guys speak to that. I mean, I could never hit another ball or field another ground ball, and I'd be fine. I'm not going to miss that too much, but spending time with people that you care about, building those relationships in the clubhouse, lifelong relationships, friendships that go way past the game. That's the thing that was probably the most special, and the thing that I'll miss the most. And so hearing Matt, send a message like that, it means the world to me, and it's pretty special.
Well, here's another one from your old buddy Adam Wainwright.
Matt Carp, it's your boy Weno. Hey man, when I think back on my teammates that I had for all the different years I played in St. Louis, you are easily one of my favorites. I was trying to figure out what kind of video I wanted to make for you in your retirement announcement, because we've had so many battles on the field and so many fun dinners and so many things to make fun of each other about. But really what it comes down to is you're a great friend. You were a great Cardinal. You were a great Major League Baseball player, hitter, a guy that had to work for everything that you ever got, $5,000 signing bonus. Just got it because you had the sheer will and fortitude to go take what you wanted and to really show up and work for it. And you set the example for a lot of people. Strong brother in Christ. Just can't say enough things about what a blessing it was to be your teammate and to call you friend. So congrats on a great career. Congrats on being a great person, teammate and friend and husband and dad. You set the bar for so many people. So congrats, man. We love you. Enjoy this time. I need 3 strokes aside because I know you play golf every day now. And yeah, see you, man. Enjoy it.
Well, Matt, there's a couple of guys that I know you're going to be spending more time with. There's probably a lot of Cardinals fans who are going to be disappointed not to see you out on the field. But for a guy like Weno that you're going to be getting to spend more time with, that's obviously a pretty special friendship right there.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it's hard not to get choked up thinking about the times that we got to spend together. The feeling is mutual. I appreciate all the kind words that him and Matt both said, and I truly I'm honored to have gotten to play with those 2 guys and all my teammates. Really, I mean, there's a long list of people that that had a huge impact on my career, and those guys are at the top of that list. And yeah, it's very special to get to hear that from them.
Well, I know there was some other ones as I was thinking through some guys that I know would love to encourage you and just say a word. Maybe you'll get some more text here in the coming days, but I was thinking specifically about this group of guys that you and I are involved with in a men's Bible study that we've been doing now for several months. But I think they're all former Cardinals players, and I feel grateful enough to be able to slip in there, only serving on the injured list with the Cardinals, but a lot of you guys have become my lifelong friends. What is it like to be a part of a group like that meets often, gets into God's word, keeps each other accountable, and just helps one another grow professionally and personally?
Man, honestly, I can't put into words just how important it is and the impact that it has on me. Just the community aspect, getting together, talking through all aspects of life and spending time, just unpacking, what God's doing in our lives. And it's so much fun right now in particular. And you can speak to, as well as I do, as we all are in a bit of a transition as now former players. I don't think there's not now I'm officially, everyone in there is out of the game of baseball from a player standpoint. And man, it's just so fun to do life and get together and talk and spend time together. And we talked, and it just adds to what I was saying earlier after listening to those 2 messages from those guys. Is it is so much the thing that you look back at when you get to this point, you look back over your career, the thing that you take away from it with the people that you spent time with and the relationships that you built. And man, I'm just so thankful that I have a group of guys like you all that we're just so close and get to do something like that. It's pretty special.
We're going to talk baseball here a little bit because there's a long career that we can talk about, but your experience on the field, you've obviously had some struggles, you've had some streaks, amazing streaks that have. I remember that one season you had, it seemed like you couldn't even get out. What are some of those lessons that you can take away from even now, like life lessons that maybe don't apply directly to the game of baseball, but what did those highs and lows teach you that helped shape you grow as a person?
Man, anyone that understands the game of baseball or has played it, you have an appreciation for how hard the game is. And there's so many times throughout my career where things were bleak. I mean, not going well. Real struggles. And then there were moments where things felt like they came easy. And the one thing that really stands out is when I look back is some of the hardest, and this is a good kind of representation of what life is. Some of the hardest moments that I had on a baseball field, some of the hardest struggles, when I was able to kind of pursue and fight through those moments, some of the greatest moments came after that. And it really, as a human being on earth, like, you're gonna life comes with its struggles. You're gonna go through ups and downs, and you're gonna have moments that are hard, and getting through that and pushing through that leads to really good things. And that is probably what I, as a player, was most proud of, is, during those hard struggles, being able to, keep pushing through. I mean, not giving up, not, quitting. And there were lots of times where I was, mentally to that point, just really close to just feeling like, man, I don't know how much longer I can keep pushing through this. And you just keep doing it. You keep putting your head down, you keep fighting, you keep battling, and good things usually come with that mindset.
Yeah, what a great reminder that streak is waiting right on the other side of that struggle. And sometimes that struggle may seem like it'll never end, but keeping our eye on the long term, it's so hard not to be short-sighted and say, man, I know I'm in a storm. I just want out of it right now. But it's often those storms that are doing something to shape something in us and prepare us for the next storm. That's so good. Matt, as you, I think about, when I think of you, I think of just somebody that's incredibly disciplined. I mean, you had this routine, you got to the field every day. I mean, my goodness, your eating regimen alone just amazed me. Like the way that you're able to say no to all the junk food and just eat the stuff that was good for you. And obviously your body shows it more than mine does. But performing as an elite athlete, you have to be incredibly disciplined. Were you born with that instinct, or was that something that you had to develop it? And if so, how did you develop it?
You know, no. To answer your question, I was not always this way, and it's a testament to my time at TCU. I played, 5 years of college baseball at TCU, and for a head coach named Jim Schlossnagle, who's now the head baseball coach at Texas, and he's another guy that I need to thank for the impact that he had on my career. But man, when I first got to college, I was probably the polar opposite of the player, and to the things that you speak of, the discipline and all that stuff. When I first got there, I really struggled with all of those things. I was in pretty poor shape, didn't really eat well, didn't sleep like I should have as a college student athlete. Didn't take care of myself in the weight room like I probably should. And, you think about all of the things that happen throughout your life and your career, and I call them, the God moments. I was a junior at TCU, and thinking that I was going to go, like we all did, all of our teammates, thinking like, I'm gonna play professional baseball. I'm gonna sign after my junior year and go on and go play professional baseball. Well, as a junior, I was so far away from a Major League Baseball prospect. I mentioned I was not in great shape, and I really hadn't performed that well up until that point. And I ended up having a season-ending injury. I had Tommy John as a junior at TCU, and for me, that was a defining moment in my career. And I felt like it was God's way of opening up my eyes, of saying, hey, if this is what you want to do, then we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to change some things, and we're going to have to get a little bit more discipline and start taking this a little bit more serious if this is what you want to do. And man, that injury kind of changed my whole perspective of what it takes to to be a great baseball player. And so I really committed myself then. I mentioned Coach Schlossnagle. He had a big impact on me. We had a meeting and he kind of laid it all out there. Had a really tough conversation about the player that I was and the things that I needed to do to be the player that he thought I could be. And so I just started to, implement that plan out, which was, you mentioned the eating healthy and the working out and doing all those things and really committing to my craft and to try to, to the best of the ability that I had, become the best player that I could be. And I was able to do that and stick with it through the rest of my career.
Man, what a great example of what a coach can be in our lives, of recognizing that potential and helping us achieve that full potential. That's so cool. Look back to the faith journey. How has your faith been shaped by your baseball career? And were there specific moments that faith really carried you through?
I mean, yes. I mean, every step of the way. And it started, in college. I mentioned that injury, sitting out a year when all of my buddies and guys that I was recruited with were getting drafted and going on to play, professionally. And I'm, here in Fort Worth playing at TCU and unable to play, physically injured. I ended up getting a medical red shirt, and I really committed myself, like I was mentioning, to, really like getting healthy, getting more discipline in the weight room, doing all the little things, showing up early for practice, staying late, just really like as hard as I could possibly work. And, during that time, that's when my spiritual journey really kind of took off as well. Committing to waking up on Sunday morning, going to church, and diving into the Word on a daily basis, and really trying to as a whole aspect, become a better baseball player, a better person, a better son, all those things. And I attacked that for a solid year as I was going through this rehab process and journey, and got into the best shape of my life. Came back that next season healthy and had a great fall, and then the season started, and in my mind, it's like, here we go. I'm gonna have this amazing redshirt junior year and start this professional baseball journey, and that's not the plan that God had. And I showed up, and I think I was, and I'm pretty sure that this is spot on. I think I started that season off like 0 for 30, which in college baseball is a long time. I mean, you don't get to recover. You don't play every day. You play a couple times a week, and so it was a huge test during that time, because I had felt like I had earned the right to go out and be successful. I had put in the work, I was doing all these things. I basically changed my life around, and then to not be shown immediate success was hard. But like I spoke about earlier, sometimes the hardest things that I've gone through end up being the best thing for me. And I continued to push through that. I continued to fight through that. I didn't let it waver or change. I mean, I did have moments during that time. I was like, well, what am I doing all this for? I'm eating incredibly healthy, and I'm committing so much time and effort, and, I'm not getting the results that I want. And to me, I felt like that was God putting showing me that you can do all that you want, but ultimately, trust in Him is what's going to lead to success. And that was a huge part of kind of the start of my faith journey in baseball. So was able to overcome that, finish strong, and then go on to my, fifth year, senior year at TCU and have a really good season and played what I thought was my last baseball game. And I'm not, not a lot of people know this, but, I had never had a conversation with a scout in college. Like, I did not think that I was getting drafted.
Wow.
And, when I came off the field for the last time as a fifth year senior at TCU, we were playing the University of Texas in the Super Regionals at Dish Falk, and we had just got eliminated. And I had walked off the field, hugged my parents, and I thought that was it. I mean, I thought that I'd played baseball for the last time. I mean, I had no reason to believe that I was going to go on to play professionally. I had, like I had mentioned, I didn't have an agent. I hadn't had a conversation with a professional scout. I had no reason to believe. And then all of a sudden, on the second day of the draft in the 13th round, the St. Louis Cardinals called me and gave me an opportunity to go play, and was able to make the most of it.
Wow. What a great story. True underdog. All right. So as we finish here, I'm going to ask you one last long question and then a real short one to finish. So, everybody probably is thinking as you wrap up this long career. I mean, baseball's been your life, I'm guessing, since you were 5 years old like me, and playing for so long, and you're still a young man. You got some kids and your family that you mentioned you want to spend more time with and connect with some players. But what are some other things that really excite you for the future? And what might we see Matt Carpenter doing in the next 5-10 years?
Man, that's a great question. I don't know. That has been the kind of fun part about this early stages of retirement, is kind of just sitting and figuring out, what God wants me to do next, what's in store. I know that the first focus right now is my family and being at home with them. I'm having a lot of fun coaching my son's little league baseball team, my daughter's softball team, getting to go through the youth sports with them, and as we know, there's so many life lessons that can be taught through athletics, and so we're having a lot of fun at the present moment going through that. But as far as what I'm going to do in the future, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I certainly, I do think that coaching is in my blood. The son of a coach, and I do think that when you play baseball for as long as we have, I mean, that is something that's just never going to leave you. I do think that I might stay involved in the game somehow. I don't know how or what that looks like, but I certainly could see us, that pathway, some door opening up in the future down that road. But I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for you at the present moment.
Well, you probably shouldn't either. I mean, I was going to be a bit surprised if you were able to just clearly lay out this plan for me, but I thought maybe there might be something, you might go back to your salsa and start reproducing the line of hot sauce.
You never know. Hey, there's another option. So we'll see.
Okay, final question here. I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball at you, but you're pretty good at hitting curveballs. If you could summarize your career in baseball in one word, you only get one word, what would it be?
Wow. I'd have to go with just blessed.
Mhm.
I can't think of a better word for it. I mean, my journey, I could count. I couldn't count on, if you gave me an hour of the blessings that have showed up in my career, the journey that I've been on. Just so fortunate. Just starting by getting drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals. Just an incredible organization with a real opportunity, and great coaching and unbelievable people to be around, and so many blessings showing up on a day-to-day basis. And I was so fortunate to be around so many wonderful people, and every one of them had an impact on me, and I would have never made it without them. And so, yeah, blessed has got to be the word.
What a great word. And Matt, I will share back. You've really blessed our time today. You blessed my time in particular with just being able to be your teammate and sharing this news with you today. Congratulations on a wonderful career. I love the way that you just shared with all of us the way that you met some of those physical, emotional, and spiritual challenges along the way, and what God taught you as a result. And really just look forward to seeing what's next for you. So God bless you, and thanks for being on Getting the Game.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching Sports Spectrum here on YouTube. You can click our next video, or you can check out our website, sportsspectrum.com. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.